I would have liked to have been chuffed with everything, but the only thing that I'm chuffed with is the flipping headlights. I'm moaning again, aren't I? But this time it's about the car. And I used a law of attraction with everything that I've done ever since I started the tattoo studio. My favourite quote is, all we are is the result of what we've thought. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Right, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. We'll start with the good news, passed its MOT. So just an advisory on the handbrake, needs adjusted. But other than that, there was one other thing. Oh, I'd forgotten to connect the wishy washers, the washer jets for the front windscreen. So they just connected that and that's sorted. So yeah, great news, right? But we took it to Rowra, to that on that 10-day build up to the car show, and when Jonathan drove it round the track, we noticed a rattle. Jonathan didn't diagnose it with anything. He thought it might have been, some bodywork rattling, something like that. It wasn't sure. But Tatty had heard it from outside as well when he was filming. I was at a distance flying the drone, so I didn't hear it. But yeah, so I text it round for MOT, and to me it sounded like a tappet, cam follower, something like that. And with it not being ran for a year and a half at least, other than started up to move, and even then barely that. So yeah, I thought maybe a sticky tappet or something. Jonathan drove it back because I says, you need to have a listen to this rattle, and he drove it back, and I was in behind him, and it was rattling, it's twatting. Got it taxed, got it insured. We checked the oil, and it wasn't touching the dipstick. Now I've never looked at the engine, you know what I mean? It's all been bodywork up to now, so we're at engine stage now. So sooner, bit sooner than I expected. I thought I was just gonna run it for a while and then do engine swap at over the winter sort of thing. But yeah, so it was the oil wasn't touching the dipstick. So I got some oil, new filter, dropped the oil out of it, what was in it, and it was black. And when I looked in it and swilled it about in the drainage pan, it was like panning for gold. Loads of tiny little metal flecks in it, golden colour. So like generally your big end bearing shells are made out of brass, and the coating wears off and the brass wears, and so to me, I don't know what Jonathan's saying about it, but to me it's the big end that's gone. It's not the top end, it's the bottom end. So anyway, put some fresh oil in it. Wasn't 100% certain whether there was like something in. I didn't take any notice of the drain thing that I put it in, so I didn't know whether there was already metal in it. I was kind of slightly hopeful that it wasn't out of that engine. But then Uncle John says that he'd cleaned the thing out, the drain tray out, so there was nothing in it. So anyway, I drove it home. It's about like 12 mile, and you couldn't get over like about 2,000 revs, 2,500 revs, and it was rattling. This morning I got home. This morning I've drove it back through, and not only is it, it was worse when it was cold as well, but also below, so you can still stop it like rattling like mad below a couple of thousand revs, but I had the window open and I was listening to it, and you can actually hear a knock below 2,000 revs, and then when you get to about 2,000 revs you get a good old rattle. There's the bad news, the engine is kaput. That puts us in the right predicament, doesn't it? I was not planning on doing an engine swap so soon, and so it's really like, what do you do? Do I get another engine like a 1ZZ motor, which are weak as hell and generally quite shit, about 140 brake and not very tunable, and like I say, it's like very weak. So I phoned the MR2 breakers, and they said that the lad in Carlisle, and he said that he's had 3 inquiries for engines this week. He has a waiting list for them, and they're really hard to get hold of. Cars to break are getting really expensive, and so he says, there won't be no quick fix there, although he's give us the contact details of someone else who breaks MR2s and might have something, but it would I just don't want to put another one of them engines in it, you know. And then obviously there's the 18T, that's what I want to do. So I've spoke to Stavtech, is it Jaworski? I can't pronounce the other dude's name, but Thomas. I need to speak to him. But Stav is basically, I says how much to, you know, dump the car with you and you do the engine swap, because they're all kit up for it, and obviously they make the conversion kits, which is what I'm going to put in anyway. So I don't know whether anybody into MR2s has checked out their stuff, but yeah, they're doing some amazing work with MR2s. So yeah, go and check them out. But yeah, so he's hit us with quite a chunky price. Well, it's around the £5,000 mark. I think it's over the £5,000 mark for them to do it. So I can't afford that right now. I've spent a lot of money on building this and had no money back out of it, and also I'm buying my tattoo studio. The owners of the tattoo studio, the building, decided that they were selling up, and out of the blue told us that we came to the end of the lease, and they says, right, we're not going to renew the lease, we want you to buy the building, or we're going to put it on the market. And that might mean us having no lease, that we would then have to move out. Do you know what I mean? So I've been put in a bit of a position there where I've not got a lot of choice, because I live at the studio, we live above the studio, so that would be me losing my home and me business premises in a wanna. I have no choice, I have to buy this building, so I've had to rake together a massive deposit to be able to do it. So cash flow has flowed a lot in that direction, and before that a lot in the Datsun direction, and other, you know, funding which I could, you know, pull a bit out of the tattoo studio to sort this issue out, is now going to sort another issue out, which is far more important than this. Proper catch-22, looks like it's going to be off the road for a little bit, unless someone wants to donate as an Audi 18T engine. Gonna speak to Thomas and Stab though, and see if they fancy doing a collab, because these kits are £5,000 and their cars look like standard MR2s, but they're like 500-600 brake horsepower. My car looks awesome, you know, we've got the problem in the back, so like it can kind of work together. So like I'm going to chest them up about that anyway. I'm sure we can work something out. We're going to have to work something out. Either way, I need their engine mount kits and whatnot as well. So that's the direction I'm going to have to go. I'm not going to consider any other engine swaps. I'm just going to go down that route. This would have been hey, that was brilliant. I've you know, I had my first drive out on that, but it was absolute flipping torture. On top of that, the suspension is hard as hell, and there's a lot of rattles coming from the dashboard. I think it's all dust that's got in among it. It's causing like a creaky noise, you know, like in between where all the panels are. The headlights are absolutely amazing. Those are definitely the best headlights I've ever had on a car. The beam is so clear and so bright and sharp, and yeah, it's just they're really good. So I'm chuffed. I'm mad, innit? I was, well, I would have liked to have been chuffed with everything, but the only thing that I'm chuffed with is the flipping headlights. I'm moaning again, aren't I? But this time it's about the car. Anyway, everything else is fine. Definitely snapped necks. I took it round town just for a little blip last night, just very carefully, obviously. I had a load of kids on bikes swarmed us and asking what it was and that, and a load of half-pissed people walking up the road. I heard people saying like, what the f***'s that? And stuff like that. So yeah, that's the kind of response that I expected it to get like. So yeah, all good apart from its which is not good at all. So yeah, don't know what I'm doing today. There's not a lot of point doing much with this really. I think I'm gonna have a mess on with the mural and just sort of chill my beans out a bit. So anyway, I'll go and see what Tatty's up to. He's been painting his car, done his usual thing where he paints it, paints it again, and he's done it again. I was supposed to be putting the paint on it. He'd had it ready. It was primed. He'd been like prepping the primer. I says I'm going home to drop Jordan off, and then I'm coming back and I'm going to paint your car. When I came back, he'd already painted it, hadn't he? Can't help himself. So like he's messed it up again. So now he's sanded it all down again, and he's been trying to polish it, and I've says, look, just flat it with 400 and I will paint it. Do not paint it yourself. So that's where he's at with that. He's busy tidying the booth up at the minute, and I think I'm gonna have a mess on with this mural. I've got some more cans, just 3 arrived in the post, so I'm gonna have rapidly empty them probably, and hopefully get the mural finished and sort my head out. So I'm sat here drinking a cup of coffee made with double cream. Got a couple of chocolate digestives there, and I'm sat in my living room looking at my car and contemplating life. And although, like, obviously there's problems with the car, and you know, I've got other pressures going on that are all clashing, you know, I can't help but sit here and think, you know, how lucky I am, you know what I mean? I mean, just having like this scenario where one of my dreams has always been to have a car in my living room, but this is slightly different in that I've got a living room in my garage, but it's the same thing. Yeah, although like bit of a stressful day, ups and downs and stuff, you know, I can't help but sit here and think how lucky I am to have this. You know, I've got a tattoo on my chest, it goes across my chest, it says rise and shine, and it's backwards so that I'm the only one that can read it when I look in the mirror. Because my dad used to say to us when he got us up in the morning, come on son, rise and shine. And I always used to think that it meant get out of bed, you know. You know, at one point, you know, many years ago, I realised that like it means so much more, you know, to rise up above adversities and problems in life and shine, do your best. So, and a lot of people who know us, you've heard us going on about the law of attraction, and also the creators podcast as it started, the channel, the creators. It was about creative people doing creative things, including myself. It's turned into more myself than other people, and it's turned into cars more than just general stuff. But it's still the same thing. What I wanted to do was showcase creative people and give them a platform to show what they do, and hopefully to inspire other people to be creative and go out and do things that they want to do as well. But along the way, I've also shown how I create stuff and how I've created this, and not just this, but the garage and this opportunity. Yeah, everything that's happened. I mean, like you know, I said to Megan, and like on the whole like lucky side of it, you know, like I honestly believe that I attracted Megan into my life. Do you know what I mean? She was exactly what I needed, and yeah, I'm lucky I've got her, and I like every day that she makes me a cooked breakfast every morning, 7 days a week. Brings us a cup of tea, gets us up because she's up early and I'm never up early. Wakes us up with a cup of tea every day, and makes us a cooked breakfast every morning so that I've got food in my belly. I used the law of attraction with Megan, and I use the law of attraction with everything that I've done ever since I started the tattoo studio, and I used the law of attraction with all of this as well. And give you an example of it, I said a long time ago to Megan, long before any of this was ever happening, the garage side of things, I says to her, I need a garage that holds at least 10 cars. And this was before I was back into cars. It was maybe when I had a bit of an inkling. But anyway, I said to her a long time ago, I says, I need a garage that holds at least 10 cars. Well, this garage would hold about 16 cars. You know, I got that. I got to build this. I'm doing the Datsun, and you know, a business is growing from it as well. So, if I can create something that's self-sustaining and pays for itself and enables me to build cars like this and drive cars like this, and you know, do other cool stuff. I've got loads of cool stuff planned for in here. A lot of it you don't know about yet, but I've got some cool stuff coming up. Yeah, you know, I just like I think that, you know, we all have our ups and downs and that, but you know, you can't help but sit here and feel really lucky to be alive, because I nearly died a couple of times. You know, to be able to sit in my living room and look at my car. So it is a bucket list thing that I'm sat here ticking off my list, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I always, my favourite quote is, all we are is the result of what we've thought. It's a Buddha quote, and that's very true, you know. Everything you are now is the result of the thoughts that you had in the past, and the actions that you took based on those thoughts created your now. Everything that you've got now came from a thought that you had in the past. So when you realise that's absolutely true in every element of your life, your health, your wealth, your family, your clothes on your back, your job, your car, your friends, your house, everything, then it must also be true that everything that you're going to be is a result of the thoughts that you're having now. If everything that you are now is a result of your thoughts that you had in the past, then everything that you're going to be has to be a result of the thoughts that you're having now. So you got to be really careful what you're thinking about, because your thoughts are creating your life, and my thoughts have created all this. So along the way, with the channel, I've been able to not just, and it's kind of subliminal as well, you don't like see it happening until I'm explaining it to you like this, but look at what's happened. Like even the, you know, buying the kit that I bought and it being so bad that it forced me to chop it into God knows how many pieces and put it back together in a way that works, and obviously change a lot about it, fix a lot with it, but also change it to make it my own. And you know, like I would have never have took molds of it and started reproducing this as a kit if it was just the kit that I bought. I would have never copied it. I don't see this as a copy. Every single inch of this car has been reworked. The only bit that you could say I haven't done much with is below, for the rear lights and below, but I'm going to do something with that as well. I'm cutting those 3 vents out, and I'm going to put a big diffuser in the back. So apart from that, everything's fresh, everything's been changed. So, you know, I've made it my own, and like I say, I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So yeah, I'm going to be heading home shortly. I was going to do some stuff on the mural, but I need to go home and make some money. It would be ideal if someone bought a kit, and then we could get in that room and build a kit. But until I've got an order, I do have materials that I could probably make. I wouldn't be far off being able to make a full kit. Probably get the materials. Yeah, I could get the materials in to make a kit, but it's not the quickest way of making money. And if I was to make a kit, like, I don't have a customer for one, do you know what I mean? I haven't got a customer for one yet, so I'm not doing one until I've either got a customer or until, you know, I would have been doing Jonathan's, but now this needs an engine, so that's more important. I'm going to cancel the insurance on it because it's going to be off the road again for a while. So, but even again, law of attraction, do you know what I mean? I wanted to put an 18T in it anyway. This is just that, like, to me, that's the universe kicking me up the arse and saying, right, you got no choice. You're gonna have to do an engine swap. Sometimes these shitty things happen to you, but we live in a world of yin and yang, and you know, we've got dark and light, up and down, hot and cold. Everything has its polar opposite, positive, negative. So out of every negative, because we live in an equally balanced world of yin and yang, hot and cold, up and down, positive and negative, out of every negative, there must be a positive. A couple of quotes here: everything you need is within reach. And the second part of it, but finding is a luxury reserved for the seekers. So you got to be looking, or you won't find anything. That's why goals in life are so important, because you need to know what your goals are and the things that you want in life, or else you won't see those those things, even if it's looking you right in the face, because you're not looking for it. Finding is a luxury reserved for the seekers, and everything you need is within reach. If it's a person, if it's a book, if it's money, if it's an idea, if it's an opportunity, it's always within reach, but you got to be looking for it. So I can go back to town, I can get myself in my basement, make some tattoo machines. I've got the stuff there to make them. I've just been busy doing this and sort of lost interest in building the tattoo machines. It's kind of boring, you know, like doing the same thing over and over again, and you know, like a production line of tattoo machines sort of thing. So, but I'm gonna go and make some tattoo machines and get them up for sale, knock out some tattoo designs and put those up, and get a few extra customers in, because like, again, I don't try and get tattoo customers in because I'm busy here. So every moment that I've got spare in my diary, I want to come here and do this stuff. But you got to make a living at the end of the day as well. So, you know, and until this starts funding itself, I've got to fund it in other ways. Can't complain. It's the engine's maybe pagged, but there's plenty of opportunities out there to make it better. I just need to find a way, and if cash is part of the way, then I better go and make some cash. Cash being like fully taxed, because like I run legit. Like when I say cash, I mean like stuff that's went through the books. Do a bit of research, see if I can get in touch with I'm gonna have to learn the names. Warski Motorsport or something like that. Kuba's Polish, so he even told us how to pronounce it this morning. I can moan, but I can't complain. I mean, dig. Dunkin' chocky biscuits and my coffee, sat with my feet up. Not many people get the opportunity to do something like this. I've got Megan supporting us at home and in everything that I do. I've got Jonathan, I've got Tatty, I've got Kuba, I've got Jordan and Jodie tattooing away and working their asses off in the studio. Jordan came and helped us with the mural. Got you guys. I mean, YouTube's definitely been how do I put it? It's helped us be more consistent. I'm quite a crazy random person. Don't know whether I've told you this before, but I'm a registered schizophrenic. I've got schizophrenia. Well, several types of schizotypal disorders. That's what my psychiatrist said. I think it was just they don't understand what a creative person is. So I kind of found the line between creative and crazy, and here it is. Crazy people do destructive things in their life, and creative people do constructive things in their life. But what goes on in the head is the same thing. That dysfunctional way of thinking that people generally don't understand, like normies, you know what I mean? People who aren't like of a creative disposition, shall we say. They can't understand people like me, and I'm not surprised. I can't understand myself half the time. But that's the difference. So I kind of walk this fine line, and I love it. Like the psychiatrist said, right, you need to take these antipsychotic medication. I says, why not? I says, because I like being me. I says, those drugs would make me not me. I like being me, and I'm only good at being me. You know what I mean? So, and my crazy creative ends us up in situations like this. Mainly constructive, but sometimes destructive. I mean, this project's been quite destructive in the sense that I've not turned my back on the tattoo studio, but I've certainly not given it any energy over the last 2 years, really. I'll do the jobs that are booked in, but I don't try and get extra ones in and stuff, you know what I mean? I cherish the gaps in my diary so I can come here. I'm definitely gonna have to start pushing harder with the tattooing and the tattoo machines, because those are my bread and butter, really, you know what I mean? I'd like this to be my bread and butter, but I've got to have customers for that, you know what I mean? So it'll come though, you know. I know there's a lot of you guys out there wanting one of the kits, and I know there's a lot of people seeing stuff on the social media and stuff, like, because I'm sure a lot of yous don't like follow my Facebook and stuff like that, and my Instagram. But if you did, you'd see a lot more of what I do actually. A lot of what I do, you don't see on here. I never stop, I don't watch telly, and I'm always doing something. I'm always creating something. I'm gonna go home, do some work. I could almost have a nap here. This couch is just so comfy. No rest for the wicked and all that. So I'd better go home and do some work. Scrape some money together to fire an engine in this. I've waffled loads today, haven't I? Now what else to do really? I suppose I could be pulling the engine out of the thing. I was gonna have a gun and finish off the mural, but the paint that's been sent, they haven't sent any black, so until I've got enough paint, I'm not really in the mood for doing that anyway, so it's nearly finished. So, you know what I'm saying about, I've got some cool stuff coming up. I've got some new art that I'm wanting to try, like some 3D art, and I had in mind, you know, for this place, this is also somewhere where I can create some more messy art, if you know what I mean. I'd like to go at that, you know, where you have like a bucket of paint on a pendulum and you put a big canvas on the floor and you swing the pendulum when the bucket's got holes in the bottom, and it draws a picture on the, well, it draws a pattern on the canvas. I'd love a go at that. It occurred to us last night that like I could do that. All I've got to do, it's bound to have strong ceiling on it. I think it's bloody concrete. I could put a hook up and, you know, in the spray booth bit, and do that in the spray booth. That'd be cool. So maybe I'll have a go at that at some point. But there's some other stuff that I'm wanting to do as well. It's hard to explain, so I'm not going to explain that to you. But I'll tell you this one. I was thinking about this last night. Thoughts, again, you see, all we are is a result of what we have thought. What we think about, we bring about. So I thought to myself last night, I was actually like responding to comments on YouTube, and we were talking about the rear spoiler and the fact that it might not even work because it's out of the airflow and there's so much air disturbance on the top off the roof vent, and you know, it's questionable as to whether the rear spoiler will even have any effect. I'm not that bothered about it having an effect because I'm not personally going to be driving it about at like crazy speeds, but if someone was to put one of these on the track, do you know what I mean, then yeah, it would be quite important. The roof vent's already there, disturbing all the air. And anyway, someone had commented saying to not do it, not put it in, because the Shoer, if it was meant to be there, then Ford would have put it there, and you know, they wouldn't have spent, I think the way they put it was hundreds of hours testing in the wind tunnel. I don't think Ford did any wind tunnel testing on this car at all. It's not that kind of car. I think if it was designed to be a circuit car, then maybe yeah, but like, and back in them days, they were only really just starting to discover aerodynamics and understand it, and well, you know, they knew it was there, but like I think, you know, to a certain extent, Ford and any other look at the Audis, they were fucking brick, do you know what I mean? So I think they were more thinking about just get as much power into them as possible, and you know, power through the problems. But I don't think that these things ever went into a wind tunnel, and if they did, I don't think that the aerodynamics would be very good. But then that got us to thinking, what actually, you know, like, it's a good point, you know, like, would the spoiler work? Would the active aero, you know, when it goes up, would it affect the downforce or not? So then I got to thinking, well, how do we test it? And then it occurred to us that this building is like a tunnel, very much like a tunnel. It's very long, it's quite narrow, it's got a lowish roof, and it's got a door at either end. So I'm gonna make a wind tunnel, just like a temporary one, like a makeshift wind tunnel, full size. I'm gonna get some big ass fans, and I'm gonna get some air ducts to direct the air. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do this yet, but I'm gonna have a go at turning the place into a wind tunnel so that we can actually test it, just out of curiosity. I think it's a good question that I'm curious about, and I've often thought about making a wind tunnel, like a miniature one for me Hot Wheels cars and stuff like that. But last night it occurred to us that this place could be quite easily turned into a wind tunnel. Now I might have to hire a couple of big like industrial fans or something like that. And I might have to make something that's gonna direct the air, like frustrating in the airflow out. Well, I will have to, you know, but I don't know. The airflow tends to come in from the far end at the booth, flow through. The wind's always blowing from the same direction pretty much, and out that door. So I guess it would be a case of just put some big fans at this end, which will create a vacuum at that end, and it'll pull the air through. We might not be able to get like 100-mile-an-hour winds, but we'll certainly be able to get airflow, and then we can run smoke over the car and see how it's performing, see what the smoke's doing and where it's going. So yeah, I'm going to build a wind tunnel. I think that'd be fun, and you'll get to see that as well. I'll video it for you. Be interesting. Anyway, waffled for long enough. Coffee's cold. The day's just about done anyway. It's 5:20. I've achieved nothing or very little. I've been to Prestige Wheels on the way here just so that they could get a picture of the car. It was those guys that did the powder coating on the wheels. So I took it round there so they could get a picture for the social media, and that's kind of on the way anyway. So I called in there. That's possibly all I've achieved in making this video and getting the car back in one piece. One thing that it's highlighted was, if that thing did break down, I would have a problem because there's no means of towing it. So I need to sort out a towing eye for the front, and possibly a way of like something at the back as well. Wouldn't be so bad at the back because you could get a strap underneath and onto the subframe, and you could pull it backwards that way. But on the front, there's no way that you could tow it. So the cross member that goes across underneath the bumper support, I'll either have to come out of the front bumper with like a loop. I can have it on top of the bumper, or I could have something just inside so that you could put a strap through the top radiator gap. Don't know, but I need to work that out anyway, because it definitely needs, if you were to break down, it needs a way of winching it onto a transporter. But yeah, what a gift. Been able to sit here, look at that thing with my feet up. But I better go anyway. Go and do some work. Oh, it's Thursday. Thursdays are my day off, or one of my days off. Go and look for 18T engines on eBay, see how much that's going to hit us. Pardon me. Right. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for pressing buttons, all that good stuff. That is definitely a video. That's 36 minutes of me chuntering on, which Coobs will edit down. He takes out all the erms as well. Yeah, thanks for watching anyway, definitely a video. Catch you on the next one. Bye for now.